Let's talk trade with China. The 90-day clock is ticking. And our next guest says the president's hard line is working. He wrote this on FoxNews.com. Trump's tough stand on China trade will benefit America and the world. Andy Puzder wrote it. He's the former CKE restaurant CEO. All right, Andy, I take your point, but it's great for America and great for the world only if we get a deal, and it's a good deal for America. There's no guarantee we get a good deal, is there? Because if we don't get a good deal, we're up the creek, right?
Well, there's no guarantee you're ever going to get a good deal, but whatever we get, it won't be as bad as it is now. Oh. I mean, our trade deficit with China is huge. It drags down our GDP. They steal our intellectual property and sell goods back to us, manufactured with our technology in industries they subsidize. They've messed up the World Trade Organization. You know, the world can really benefit from what the president's doing, and it will benefit. The extent of how much they'll benefit depends upon how good a deal he can negotiate, and part of that is how much patience he can get and how much support he can get from the American business community and the investors on Wall Street.
Well, do you think the American business community and investors on Wall Street, do you think they back Mr. Trump, all the way through the 90-day deadline and then into the new year? Because it might extend.
I think a lot of these companies, companies are supported based upon whether or not their ox is getting gored. I think the way that we report earnings, quarterly, the way that the public is very focused on whether or not companies are profitable in the short term as opposed to often in the long term. I think people feel pressured to oppose the president's policies, even though they may internally support them from a long-term point of view. But I think he'll get a lot of support from the business community. I just hope people have the patience to let us work our way through this. Let the president negotiate this deal. It will be better. We're only dealing what we export $130 billion worth of goods to China. That's less than 0.5% of our total GDP of about $21 trillion. It's almost a rounding error. So don't over exaggerate the impact of what's going on. We'll come out of this just fine.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it, Andy. I want to talk to you about Chick-fil-A. I'm sure you know this by now, but they are about to become the #3 fast food chain in America, behind McDonald's and Burger King. You used to run a couple of fast food chains. How did Chick-fil-A, I think, came from nowhere and moved up to the #3 spot so quickly? How did they do that?
Well, that's really a magnificently run brand. It's privately held. It's run by a great group of people. And I think the big thing with Chick-fil-A is service. I mean, these people are nicer than the people at Disneyland. I mean, they're just wonderful, wonderful service providers. You go buy a Chick-fil-A, the drive-through, is always full, but they get people through quickly. You go inside, they're polite, they're kind. The food is very good. It's reasonably priced. They deserve everything they're getting. It's a great brand.
Did you expect? Look, a few years ago, I'd never heard of them. Never heard of them. And now suddenly, then you too? Is that true?
Yeah, I can remember seeing the first Chick-fil-A and thinking, what is Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody had to tell me what the name was. So they really did come out of nowhere.
Yeah, you sounded out phonetically, and it's Chick-fil-A. Well, I'll never do that again. Mr. Puzder, thanks for joining us. See you again soon.
Thank you, Stuart.
Merry Christmas, young man. Merry Christmas.